Hi gang, how y'all doing? Hopefully everybody is good and happy today. Avid, how's it going, bud? Just painting an alien today. Felt like taking it easy. Dug through the archives, found a silly little start of a painting. Decided to see where I could take it. I've already begun editing. This was inspired, I believe, by a film that I worked on briefly. Obviously not at all the same, just inspired by. I like doing critters. You got a frozen pizza in the oven? Hell yeah. That's flavor country right there. Frozen pizza. I think we need to have a frozen pizza box here for his hat. The idea is he's kind of a homeless alien. I remember Koro years ago did a comic or maybe it was a graphic novel or something like that, where that was the premise. Like it was set in San Francisco and it was all of these aliens that were homeless. Or maybe it wasn't aliens, maybe it was sort of like otherworldly critters. Things like that. I thought it was a pretty cool idea. Although I never did actually get to read it. Y'all been painting lately? Doing anything fun? I think I like the kind of humanity in these eyes, but they're a little too human-y for me. I gotta figure out a way to make them more unique. I have a lot of sort of repeat textures happening here that are a direct result of copy pasting and kind of just mushing things about. It's not a problem. Texture is always going to be good. It's just key to kind of break up the patterning just a little bit. I want to make this anatomy more unique in the face so that it feels natural and simultaneously expressive. Like that's when you're doing when you're designing alien creatures or characters, you have two routes to go, and both are very important to think about and understand before you even start really working. Do you want to make a character or creature that is wholly alien and impossible to understand, or do you want to make something that is relatable? And relatability is a very strict parameter to work with. So you got to find ways to make these things work. You know, I mean, there's so many examples of this kind of design. You know, look at like Finding Nemo, right? You got to design fish. Fish are pretty ridiculous looking little monsters, right? But then you also got to make them kind of feel expressive, relatable to humans. How do you change their facial structures and things like that in order to allow them to even make the facial expressions necessary to be animated as relatable characters. That's really tough as a concept. That took a lot of time to figure out, I guarantee it. And then there's that line, like, you can easily make it too relatable. You can make things not alien enough, and it's such a fine line. Where do you pick and choose to put your alienness, the otherness, and where do you plant the relatability? That's always the challenge when doing that kind of design. I've got sort of a Kevin Spacey kind of anatomy in mind for this figure. Sometimes when I'm trying to do alien design like this, that I pick, if not an actor, then a character, and I try to make a version of that. So this is kind of Spacey's character from shit, I'm totally spacing on the name of the movie right now. Shit. It's the crime movie where he is Kaiser Sose. Come on now, help me out here, people. It's not the Untouchables. Oh my god, my memory is so bad sometimes. Yeah, the visuals I can remember always, but my brain is just totally toast when it comes to remembering the nouns of stuff. Oh god, this is killing me. I can't remember the name of the movie. And I love this movie too. The Usual Suspects, that's it. Not The Untouchables, The Usual Suspects. A great movie. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely check it out. Of course, I ruined it for you by giving away the ending, but it's still really good. We are well past spoilers territory for that, my friends. That movie came out when I was in high school, I think. That was the dinosaur age, I believe. Anyway, the character that Spacey plays for the majority of the story is this sort of handicapped guy who's a little bit feeble and nervous, a little, overwhelmed by everything. And it's a really amazing role he plays. He's sort of a snitch, a liar, untrustworthy, but also like weak and fearful. So I'm talking about relatability. Relatability here might be in the eyes, and then making the mouth or the structure of the jaw completely alien brings it back. So it's this sort of juggling back and forth of design. There's no hard answer to any of this stuff. It's so subjective and arbitrary. But while it may be subjective and arbitrary, you must have reason and purpose in your design. There must have, every design must have a inherent interior logic to it. And what's great about that kind of thinking is that there will always be a level of depth and problem solving to the design, because you're considering that stuff from the get-go. It's cool to do. I love doing concept design on Twitch with you guys, because I don't really talk about concept design that much in my painting lessons. I've told you before, the painting lessons are so much about doing things that are sort of objectives, things that have inherent logic and reason to them. so it's easier to explain. And then in here we're getting into the little more fanciful stuff. I'm hesitant to push details up into this kind of beaky structure, because I don't want it to feel like a mustache or anything. Maybe I'll keep it more simplified, like a turtle beak. Kind of give it little wrinkles to imply lips. Can be easy to lose your symmetry when you're working in sort of alien anatomy like this, because you'll be so focused on literal symmetry from how the image is actually being drawn, the two-dimensional surface, that you'll forget about the three-dimensional symmetry, which isn't necessarily symmetrical in the painting. It's very tough to keep in mind, because it's all invented. It's all goofy shit. Alright, I don't want to take this too far with the rendering. It's already kind of pretty detailed, so we'll go straight to color. Let's do a gradient fill. Screw it. Not that crazy. So I set up my gradient here, and what I'm going to do is just play the two colors against each other, so that in the background the orange at the top will be offset by the greenish figure, and vice versa. So that down here the greenish background will be offset by a orangish figure. It's a little bit of color theory play. It's not really super deep or anything, but it just gives us visual variety, so that you can kind of get away with introducing colors for rendering and things like that. But the two things work against each other really well. It's something I like to do sometimes, just in the beginning. Pretty saturated, so I'm gonna drop the opacity just a touch and go to hue saturation and drop the saturation another touch, just to get the colors back into the realm of, you know, somewhat realism. It works pretty well, I find. I tend when I'm painting, especially when I'm doing sort of really fanciful stuff, to take it into really out there colors super fast. So I find to counter that, it's wise to sometimes back it down at the beginning. Rein it in just a little bit. Okie dokie. Let's start figuring out a little bit of what's going on here, because so much of this is scrappy implication rather than actual design. Kind of like the idea of him wearing like a poncho or something like that, like he's just picked things up. He has kind of a theory of how and why people wear clothes. There's a pretty great example of this in the movie District 9. I love how the Proans are how their costuming is designed, because it's like they don't really understand the purpose of clothing, but they're just trying to mimic the people that they see. That is called world building, friends. There's this kind of issue when you're designing that comes up when you're trying to mimic sort of, and this happens also with environments, when you're trying to mimic the feel of trash. You can get, it can get too randomized. You definitely want to imply random, but you can't follow that visually according to its logic, because it's going to become super busy and uncomfortable to look at. So in a way, designing the chaos of garbage is actually harder than designing simplistic stuff. If you ever want a challenge for this, try doing a landscape of a landfill. That's so hard. I've done it a couple of times, from photos and things like that, and it is not easy. My chair is too low. Come up, you. I think the proportions look a little too human in the body, so let's figure something out for that. A knit cap on top of a hood. I don't think I've seen that before. What's something I'm looking forward to? Currently, voting. Definitely looking forward to that. How about you? You got anything on the horizon that's exciting? I don't know what it is about neck pouches. Always funny. You're doing mass cold calling and sending out portfolio on 22nd. Awesome. Yeah, you got a plan. That's the way to get. That's the way to do it, man. Wow, Shadowlands and Cyberpunk. Nice. Well, if you're going for industry, you got to start learning to call the studios by their names, not their products. So you'll once you start getting your first gigs, you'll get into the habit of that, where you're because you don't need to, when you're talking to people that are working in industry, you don't need to tell them what games they are. Well, good luck. That's going to be fun. Did you do the mail out like we talked about way back in the day? Yeah, you'll find it pretty interesting. Once you're in industry, you don't need to, there's no code or anything. Everybody kind of just speaks the same language. You don't need to clarify. It's kind of fun. Like when I try and tell people what I do, you know, when I lived on the boat and stuff like that, it was it was so hilarious. No one understood. They tried though. Bless them. Sweet folks. You made the mail out? Stylized. Nice. Just do one for both. Unless you're doing a stylized portfolio and a realistic portfolio for the different studios. In that case, yeah, you got the right idea already. Awesome. Hearthstone and WotC. Great. Let's make a new layer and see if we can do something better with this mouth, because right now I'm not feeling it. It's definitely more froggy like this automatically. Looks like a Gungan or something. Hmm. I don't know about that mouth. Could be maybe a little bit toothy. What if we transform it down? Very weird teeth can be a way to tell the same kind of, get the same feel. Maybe he's got really tiny little teeth. Tiny teeth are creepy. Right? You guys regularly ask about paintings and kind of the struggle with paintings, and I've got a commission I'm working on. It's a magic card, and it is just not going my way at all. It has been a slog, and I swear the more hours I put into it, the worse it looks. And just, man, sometimes seems like everything's working against you on those ones. Yeah, right? Like scraping with his bottom teeth. Have you ever done that and gotten all those little fibrous bits stuck in your teeth? I love mangoes. I don't like papayas. Papayas smell weird to me. They got a funky funk. They taste good. Like I like them dried. I kind of want to. Yeah. Yeah, papayas are kind of nasty. They smell so much like vomit to me. I don't know how people can put them in their mouths. But a nice peach, pears, mangoes are great. I love candied ginger. So good. Ginger is bomb, especially crystallized ginger. Yum, 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 yum. Can nibble on that stuff all day. There's a place here. There's a little market not too far from where I live here in Portland, and they sell crystallized ginger that's coated in dark chocolate. Heavenly. Ginger, pineapple, and apples. Oh, nice. You put ginger in everything, Cypher? That's awesome. Ginger is just great. Like, I'm gonna be experimenting pretty soon here because I can't drink ginger ale and on sort of like a no sugar thing. But I love ginger ale. I love ginger beer especially. So I'm gonna be experimenting with making sort of like a ginger not a tonic, but a tincture, an extract. So I think that's just gonna involve soaking a shitload of ginger in Everclear or something. That's going to be fun to experiment with, my friends. Moscow mules, all day, every day. I love them. I ordered a soda stream from Bed Bath & Beyond. So that should be good. Jordan, welcome. Yeah, I'm going to be making some Moscow mules in the near future when I'm playing my Call of Duty. Oh god, I'm getting so frustrated with that game. Everybody's so fucking good. It's impossible. I am ready to switch it up. I'm definitely looking at picking up Ghost of Tsushima. I have Outer Worlds already, but I've been having issues with my video card. My video card's been crashing the game. I think I mentioned that last time. And I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that this is a heating issue that I'm having, and that the card isn't inherently faulty. So I ordered 6 new fans to install in the case. And I really, really hope this will solve the problem. Oh, Avid. Yep, definitely. 100%. That's it. That's an issue. Oh my god, Cypher. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you so much for all those gifted subs. I'm sure everybody appreciates it. Hopefully you all can send Cypher a thank you. That's so kind of you. Yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, the video cards. The video card has been spiking temperatures of like 84°C, and that's just like super dangerous. I really don't want to burn out my card. I mean, it seems to be okay right now. I'm getting little hiccups, but when I run Outer Worlds at like all the top settings, that thing freaks the shit out. I cannot handle it. You know, now that I'm doing this, I'm not entirely sold on this hat part here. So let's see what it looks like without it. What do I have? My new rig that I'm running all of this on right now. I used to do all of this from a MSI gaming laptop. But what I have now is a, let's see, it's a gigabyte motherboard with Ryzen 3950, a Ryzen 9 3550. And the video card is the GeForce RTX 2080 Ti. Everybody's trying to get in Izzy's pants. The video card is great, but I am having so many issues with it. Like when it works, it's so magic. I've never had such a kick-ass device in a machine, but absolutely, Thug. So generous. How you doing, Thug? Did you just pop in? I was just talking about how much I suck ass at Modern Warfare. I haven't overclocked anything. I'm afraid to, honestly. Apparently, so the Ryzen 9 3950 already comes at almost, like, that's its standard speed is almost overclocked, and that's what it comes base as. I'm not having problems with the CPU as far as I can tell. It seems to just be the GPU. And I think it's got to be either power draw or temperature. If it's fixable, if I can fix it in here, in my machine on my own. It's funny, every time I build a new machine, and it's super rare. Like I'll build a new machine like every 7 to 10 years, something like that. I have to become an expert in it again. It's frustrating. Yeah. Yeah. Well, my power supply is a Platinum 1000. The voltage or the amperage draw, or is it amperage draw was estimated to be something like 750. So it shouldn't, I should have more than enough power going out. I thought maybe it was the cables. I don't know. I've actually put in, I contacted EVGA, and they were great. They sent me a spare card. I had to pay for it, and they refunded it when I sent back the spare card. But I put in the spare card, and it actually was worse. I was getting artifacting all over the place, these little Space Invader looking things. It just was, it was so frustrating. So weirdly, it turned out that my failing first card was doing better than the replacement card. So I sent back the replacement, and I'm hoping I can just figure this out. And it's user error, like I built it wrong or something. It's possible that it's a heating issue, although my case is the Meshify S2, and it's supposed to be one of the best for air cooling, but it is what it is. What kind of power supply do you need, Ricky? Some third-party 2080 Ti's have too high overclocks. Are there third-party 2080 Ti's? I didn't even know that was a thing. Oh, your power source is a 350? Bud, it's time. I'll check the overclock. It's according to EVGA's Precision, which is their monitoring application. I'm not doing anything to it that's particularly extraneous. Like, it should be able to handle what I'm doing comfortably, but should is a loaded phrase. What am I going to do with these eyes? I think, let's see. Your GPU is an old R7 240. Somehow runs plenty of stuff. Really? Yeah, it might be time for an upgrade, but what I like to do is I like to future-proof as much as possible. So I try to get pretty heavy duty. Like everything that I've got that's in there right now should be able to run the new 3080s. So I'm just going to wait for the price to drop just a touch on that, and we'll see. Really sucks spending the 2K on a machine that isn't perfect. Oh my god. Way more than 2K, my friend. Oh, I'm so jealous. I really wish mine was behaving. This is kind of looking a little bit like my, I did a, what's it called, a Ghast design, which is a Lovecraftian creature years ago, and this is kind of looking like that to me right now. It's a very weird little critter, but this looks like, it looks like a Ghast found a costume. That was much more pink though. I like that kind of Brontosaurus-y colors in here. Cut my fingernails to the quick, and it's hurting quite a bit to hold the stylus. Love that I'm 40 years old and sometimes I can still fuck up cutting my own fingernails. I'm adulting super good. I like where the face is going for now. Let's focus on the outfit a little bit. I gotta think about this. What do you think? I imagine I was considering it holding sort of a plastic bag, but I don't know, maybe it's got to be something else. What do you think would fit kind of that homeless vibe that I'm after? Could be maybe a sleeping bag or something like that. Could figure out maybe the hands would help us some right here. Sergio, welcome. Thank you. We're trying to keep our values pretty tight. Let's take a look at our values. I got a couple of broken darks going on here that I need to lighten up just a touch. The accent values are too dark, but we will figure some of this out when we get to sort of the lower half of this thing. We spent so much time on the face already in our first, how long have we been at this? Hour. Oops. Oops. I love the idea of this just like really off proportions that the clothes are hiding. Big head, super narrow shoulders. Actually, let's grab this and let's push it even further. It's always better to push it further and then dial it back than it is to be too conservative. Always. When you're doing your designs. Oops. Oh, is it super late over there? Damn. Well, thanks for coming and hanging for a little bit. I super appreciate it. I know the time zones are crazy, but it means the world that you joined us for a little bit. That did not work out as planned. What do you think? Hair or no hair? Is this thing a hirsute creature? No hair. That was fast. Damn. Yeah, that's weird, right? That kind of pinch, like the shoulders almost kind of come forward, like a. Agreed. Lack of hair is better, huh? All right. All right. You got me there, gang. So this thing, maybe it doesn't have any clavicles. So it can pull its shoulders way forward. Less hair means more spec. It's true. We love our speculars in here. Oops. This one feels like it's a clammy critter. All right, all right. I hear you. We could probably do a bit of clamminess. Let's figure out. Let's. I always say like get one limb figured out, and then the other one you can kind of rest on your laurels a little bit, and that's what we're gonna do. Let's figure this arm out, or this appendage, whatever it shall be. I don't think it should look human. I've always liked. I loved the mutant designs from shit. What's that? Not Minority Report. The Schwarzenegger movie where he goes to Mars. Help me out here, Thug. My brain. Total Recall. Thank you. Yes, Total Recall. That guy with the arm where it kind of split, like the two bones kind of open up. Oh, that was the coolest design. So I'm gonna try and see if I can do some of that. I got 4 kids. Five kids to feed. Have you seen that recently, Cypher? That's a great movie. Very formative. It's a good one. I still have not made it through the remake they did. I have never been able to watch it all the way through. I always abandon it. In other news, I finally caught up on The Boys. Took me a while. So damn good. I love that show. No spoilers, you're watching it right now? Avid's trolling hard. Oh, it's so good. One of my students did a lot of costume work on that. She did a really great job. As I understand it, she did a bunch of Homelander detailing. Let's see, and let's just excuse me, let's just paint in the hand shapes. It's best if you don't imagine it. I can tell you from firsthand experience. It's better to just ignore the giggle. What would it be thinking, I wonder? It's probably best it doesn't. Oh my goodness, I would be kicked off Twitch almost immediately. Suffice to say, I'm very pleased that there's no thought scanners out there yet. Fun story. Apparently, a lot of people live on boats are actually out there, kind of hiding from the law. And when I was sailing in the Caribbean, there was a raid on a boat for tax dodgers. Not the boat I was on, but a boat in the anchorage. Pretty funny. Oops, sorry. Move my mic a little bit. Have a sippy sip. So I have a really strong light source on the face right here, and I feel like I gotta match that elsewhere. So I'm gonna real quick do a lighting pass with whatever my light is there, and just try and follow suit. Let's see, we need a lighter light, and let's say a little bit warmer. That's pretty close. Just a touch lighter. Well, this may appear like a shortcut to lighting. It technically is, but it stands on the knowledge that comes with the logic of light and color. If you try to do shortcuts like these without that background knowledge, it can actually bite you in the ass pretty hard. And even with that knowledge, this doesn't work for me all the time when I try to do these shortcuts. I find it tends to go a little bit easier when you have a simple lighting scenario. But I try to recommend against my newer students trying these kinds of sort of shortcut techniques. Good for me and not for thee. I want a texture, I think. Let's do this one. Ouch. I picked sort of a slightly warm color in the medium range of values so that it would kind of cast an orangey light Just a slight sort of hint of sunlight feel to this light source. I am not going, I hope you'll notice that the values that I have are not as bright. I can't paint over the lighter lights there because it'll just lighten them. But that the values that I have here are not as bright as the values I have on the face. And that's because I want to be able to build up. I'm using this as sort of like a base for where the light side is. Okay. I know that I want to add lights to the whatever this garment is here, but I can tell that the local color is going to be cooler than everywhere else, and so I don't want to use that warm tone that I've picked. I'll use the same value, but I'm going to change the tone. So I'm going to hold off on that, and I'll get back to that in a second. Thinking big, bold graphic shapes. Thug has redeemed name a layer. Pick your layer and pick your name, sir. Second layer will be called moist clamminess. Oh, good. Oh no, I've misspelled it. Oh, that's the worst sin. There we go. Moist. Ah, very well. Yes, sir. I am on it. Moist, who went on a double date. God, I used to love that show. I watched that. I watched Dr. Horrible's sing-along so many times. Thank heaven for the writer's strike that year, because that was just magic. Yeah, with bait and switch. He got switch. I'm looking at the navigator. I'm even shrinking this down to check out my values, because while, yes, these lights here that are on the arm are correct in terms of the logic, the narrative and the composition of the piece, I don't like how it was kind of laying out. So I'm sacrificing accuracy in favor of composition, and I'm knocking it back just a touch. I want all of my bright lines and my strong contrasts to draw the eye back to the face. Huh, thanks. Yeah, I figured it would be an uncomfortable kind of thing to try and fit into human style clothing. We need to make a new layer. Lawnmower's going on outside. That's going to be fun. All right, so when you're just kind of pooping in some values real quick and to sort of just dictate or indicate, rather, that's the word I'm looking for, a detail. It'll work for a while, but at some point you really got to go in there and figure that shit out. You can't just leave it. And the more realistic that thing is, the more you have to give it its time. In this case, these hands are relatively recognizable, anatomically speaking, so we need to give them some time. Ah, yeah. It's kind of making me think a little bit of like Hellboy's Troll Market too. Which is totally cool with me. It was like one of my favorite scenes in the sequel. Oh, come on now. Stop it. Yeah, I'll leave it as it was. Must change the song. No more of this song. Time. clean up these ducts. I like the idea of the rhythm of them, but they're not really delivering in terms of being alien enough. So let's get rid of them for now and see if we can find another place to put that idea. Could do like kind of a vertical nostril thing, maybe. Said I didn't want to do mustache, but what if it was like a super deep? Nah, it's a little too Voldemort. Don't like it. Yeah, no likey. Let's leave that alone for a little while. Move on. Let's do. Well, no. Before I get into that, let's figure out the rest of this anatomy a little bit. Musics. Fast forward. think we need to match this to the rest of the figure somehow. Some cue. I think it's going to be a color cue. Let's make a new layer just to test this out, see if this is going to work. And let's this will be easier with this hand because I haven't rendered so much of it. And we'll already know that we can start kind of defining the colors better. I think we've got a pretty good position for our primary light source. So now it's kind of like we got to contemplate what we're going to do for this fill, because we have, if you look at the upper part of the face right here where I've detailed it, there's a bit of fill in there already. So should I follow that fill for the rest, or should I do a different kind of fill and clean up what I'd done there and put that in shadow as it should be? I don't know. It's going to be the question. Oh, coffee. Love coffee. I've had coffee multiple times today already. I spent half my morning in a coffee shop, and now I'm drinking more coffee. I think there might be a problem there. Let's do a darken pass first. See how it feels. Three comic places, holy shit. I only went to one, but I was there like most of the day. Playing Pokemon Go? Nice. Oh, that's badass. I never got into Pokemon Go. I'm old school. Played that shit on the Game Boy Advance. And the original Game Boy. Pre-color. Be up all night on coffee? Oh my goodness. Me too, guaranteed. But it's good. I got so much freelance that must be finished. Yeah, see how that, I think that's working pretty good. I just need to unify these values, and then we can come in with a nice fill light and kind of round out the forms and get this to feel more naturalistic. More like a kind of Michael Cooch piece, who I'm a huge fan of. God, I wish that guy did Twitch. I'd be honest, I'd be watching his show all the time. Looks good? Yeah, thanks. Let's just take it to that finish there for the, excuse please, the values. Let's knock back all the lights that shouldn't be in the shadow side. Kind of group. This is just value grouping right now. Very lightly. Knocking things back. I'm definitely not, the knit cap is not feeling like a knit cap right now, and I kind of hate it, so I'm gonna have to do something about that first before I move on to the fun stuff. I have a feeling the knit cap will probably be in the Fresnel effect. So let's see if I can real quick, like a bunny, do some Fresnel on some of these softer surfaces. Let's value group the background also a little bit. See, the Fresnel will only work if the silhouette, or not, sorry, not the silhouette, but the rim light of it pops and has something to pop against. So I'm going to just unify values across the board and try and get this to feel a little bit more cohesive. Let's make another, let's see, That was all one layer. Let's make another new layer. Pushing too hard on the stylus. It's that thumb pain overcompensating. Okay, now let's see if we can get a little Fresnel going on. Yeah. So the effort here is to try and make the Fresnel from that primary light source. So that it feels soft. It can be so easy if a Fresnel is done poorly to make something look shiny rather than super soft. So we're trying real hard here to keep that in as much control as possible. This is not Fresnel, I'm just texturizing this cloth, sort of bandaged, whatever this is meant to be. Okay. Kind of implied Fresnels here. This cannot be a Fresnel. All right, cool. Let's do a new layer. Let's do a smooth liner. And I want to do, with a very low opacity setting, I want to start kind of implying our fill light source, which I think should be nice, cool, kind of cityscape. See, what's cool about this is the more light sources that we add, the more subtlety that we adhere to, and we acknowledge all the different lights that are bouncing around in the scene, the more realistic it will feel as we progress. And even something that's kind of chunky and loose, like this painting is, as we add those other light sources, will start to feel rounder and more complete. So let's get with the magic. Shut the hell up and get going. Too much talky. Not enough painty. I think by kind of implying this more reflective surface on the skin, it's going to add to that clamminess feel. That it's like just a little bit sweaty. It's got that kind of flop sweat, amphibious look. It off and on and see if it's actually adding to it for us. Yeah, I think it's working pretty well. I just need to make sure that I kind of imply the mirrored anatomy. Again, that symmetry, implying symmetry in 3 dimensions is very difficult. But that's the aim here. I'm doing kind of the opposite that you would see traditionally on kind of like the nose, right? So the nose is going to show some tight speculars around here, right? I'm doing the opposite with the nose section, which is really kind of just an upper lip here, and keeping the fill light feeling more matte. And by varying it up, again, this is now using materials in order to imply alienness. There is such a word. So all of this stuff, which should be not so shiny, not so clammy looking, I'm making clammy, and the parts that should be clammy, or if not clammy, have pretty tight speculars, I'm going to do the opposite. Hopefully we'll get kind of this alien feeling effect from it. Okay, so I've used a smooth liner brush to do the fill light for the skin. Now the part that's going to help the rougher surfaces that are more matte do the same is to use a textured brush that has a little bit more of a tooth to it to imply the same light source but now on a different kind of material. So surface texture can define a great deal in your recipe for material. But I see even that's too much, that's too smooth. I need a little bit more. When you're dealing with a more matte surface, it needs to behave differently. It has to feel less shiny. It has to feel like it's picking up more light. That it's not all specular. It's tough. But I mean, if you're doing this right, you should be able to do it with any brush. So I should try to show you that this can be done. It's not, the brush texture does make it easier to do what I'm talking about, but it's really the contrast drop-off control that you need to be after, and you can do that with any kind of brush. And the color that I've chosen doesn't match for this. It's too gray. I think I color picked from something else. I need more saturation. Yeah, that's much better. I'm gonna treat first the more not opaque, the more matte materials. Yeah. Everything's reading 3D. Good, good, good. Nice, smooth, slow contrast drop off. Slow, purposeful, careful strokes. I'm trying to ignore the skin right now. Yeah. I don't want too many hot spots in it. It needs to just feel it. I'm not doing a focal point here. I'm just doing kind of like implied detail, a little bit of indication, because this space needs to be filled. It cannot be it just can't be left empty like in a vacuum or anything. You need to build everything up and follow the material recipe for that area. Fill it. Right? Now, so we're going to do this side too. Now, what do you think? Is that working? So, oops, sorry, I keep hitting the mic. So I think the yellow kind of plastic vest thing, I'm going to try and do like a nice glossy material on that, kind of something sharper than I did with the skin. And that's going to be, that will help contrast the skin and contrast the softer cloth of like the sweatshirt and things like that. So gotta grab a different brush. I don't have to, but I want to. When I'm explaining the different materials and I break down the material recipes for you guys, it's so important that you experiment and study the material recipes for yourself. So it's one thing to hear me kind of break it down for you, but until you really examine and study from life, study from reference, it will always be kind of a facsimile of a facsimile. It's part, like in the same way I tell my students never to do concept design with other concept art as reference, because it just becomes this like deeply incestuous looking piece. You want to make sure that you are that you're looking at the raw source first. And this is true for your material recipes too. Because this is a more reflective material, we have to acknowledge way more the environment. Need to tighten up the contrast drop off up here too. And then in the same way, the vest has to be shinier than the face. Oops. Cool. I think we could probably dig in with some more accent values here and there, but yeah, I think this is probably a good stopping point for this guy today. We'll see if I'm inspired to continue on it. I don't know. What do you think? Should we leave it in Sketchland? I think Sketchland's okay. It really doesn't need... Like, all of the major information is here. Yeah, it's a good stopping spot in general, but I think we could probably walk away from this one and feel like some good stuff was learned. It's a fun, silly image. So, yeah. Well, let's do... I want to get rid of these. These are weird little pops there. You're an over-renderer, Cypher? Uh-oh. Now you've got me worried that this isn't... It's not sufficiently finished for a sketch. That's all right. It's all right. We can let it sit Maybe it'll inspire something else down the line. That's not a big deal. There's always more that can be done. Always. God damn it. So yeah, like I was gonna say, there might be some small changes to the Twitch coming up, depending on some work things going on. My hope is that I'll be able to be integrating the Twitch into work even more. I can't be certain that it's going to go that way just yet. I got to have some more talks with the powers that be and the big old muckety mucks. But I think it would be really cool to integrate sort of the Twitch experience with actual development, so you guys can see what it's like in the trenches for real. If that interests you, please let me know. It's one of those things where like interest could really help me generate, a positive response from, again, the muckety mucks. So yeah, if it's something you really dig, let me know. If you haven't yet, absolutely please follow. Let's get these numbers up, and then I can really justify to them that it would be a good idea to make the whole production experience available. I think it would be really useful. I wish it was something that I could have seen when I was learning. Okay, we will leave it there for now. Yeah, I think so too, Ricky. That would be great. Awesome. So thank you all for hanging out. Hopefully you had a good time. It was a quiet session today. That's all right. I like those because then I can kind of focus and just paint some silly stuff. Hope you enjoyed my goofy monster and had a good time. I come back. I'll be live again on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard, same time. Thanks for hanging, Jordan. Thanks for hanging, Ricky. All y'all. It was super fun, as always. Paint smart, paint sexy. I'm Izzy, a professional writer, concept artist, and illustrator. I've taught painting for a dozen years or so, on and offline. Many of your favorite illustrators and designers have studied with me or under me and have gone on to teach in their own right. You're here because, like they did, you want to learn to paint realistically for illustration or concept art. Well, worry not. You're in the right place. Grab a seat. I want you to join me as I explain all the aspects of image making in extremely digestible and clear monthly lessons. Not through the lens of silly how to paint hair or eye demos. That shit is carnival tricks. And you're not really learning anything except an exact way to render one thing in one manner. This is painting mysticism at its worst. Watching these kinds of exploitative lessons won't help you level up with your understanding. Sure, now you can paint sparkly hair, but what if you want to paint a dragon, or figure out how to render a sea of fire, or depict a one-eyed transgender space marine dying in the vacuum of space? Painting and image making are tools of communication, and can be learned by anyone willing to put in some time. Like grammar is for language, light, color, and form literally follow a formula. Painting well is not a matter of chicken bones, zombie crackers, and the ever-dismissive concept of talent. Learning with my series, Izzy's Logic of Light and Color, will give you the tools and understanding so you can analyze light and form in reality and bring it to life in your work. Using this simple system I have distilled will help you harness your art to share your ideas as you've always intended. When we are children, we all draw in symbols. Symbols for our house, our hands, the sun, the grass, our pet lobster. As we grow into artists, we must learn to throw away symbols and begin to draw and paint what it is we actually see. And as we grow further, we learn to paint beyond what we see and what is actually there. Until finally we move beyond this and learn to trim away what is actually there so we voice only what we want. With me,
you're going to have to buckle in and maybe take some pain meds, because I'm going to rip out your normal person's eyes and replace them with a painter's eyes. I'm going to restructure how you see and how you understand what you're seeing. I'm going to turn you into a painting machine. Truly, anyone can learn to paint realistically if they can both determine what they're seeing or imagining with basic and straightforward rules. Once you understand the mechanics of light, color, and form in reality, you will have the capacity to paint anything you can see or imagine realistically. After that, the real fun begins. Here are some of the ways you can join me and master the logic of light and color. The very first lesson of my series is totally free on my YouTube channel. In that lesson, I give you the 3 primary rules of light that are the very foundation of painting and understanding light itself. If you do nothing else to make your painting mastery easier, at least watch this amazing little lesson. It will do more for your basic understanding of light than just about any tutorial you can find. When you're ready to get deeper and you feel like you have those first rules figured out, allow me to utterly blow your mind with the next episodes available on Gumroad and ArtStation. As we go deeper into the rules underlying the logic of light and color, I carefully and simply explain important and interesting elements. From beginner to pro, there is an amazing amount of information available. Each concept has been distilled into the clearest explanation you're likely to find anywhere. Like episode 2, where we cover the atmospheric effect and how that relates to light, scale, and distance of objects in reality, and how to render it. Or episode 3, where I hand over the ultimate key to controlling value in your paintings. Episodes 5 through 8 are all about rendering materials. Want to understand the logic behind rendering metal, leather, hair, transparency, damn near anything. I even cover the logic behind painting special effects like fire, neon, or lightsabers in later episodes. The lessons just get deeper and more detailed as I build on the foundations covered in preceding episodes. The 10th gives you the most important rule of composition you'll ever learn to keep your images interesting. The next few episodes cover important painting techniques like my edge control ninjutsu or simplification with the large to small system. We dip a toe in color theory, devote a few episodes to finishing full-blown illustrations utilizing the techniques we've learned so far. Some episodes, like the lighting game or Advanced Exercises 1, the shirt, present cheap, valuable, and practical exercises to give you explosive growth in your development. Episodes 22 through 25 cover painting and illustration, just like I do for Magic the Gathering, from assignment and inception to signing the painting at the end. Each one is full of tips, knowledge, everything to make working as an illustrator easier. Did you enjoy learning how to paint basic materials? Metal, wood, and such? I got 3 whole episodes devoted to the intricate logic behind painting different kinds of skin. After that, more lessons devoted to pumping life into your portraits and original methods for accurately drawing faces out of your head. From fundamentals to photo bashing, Gumroad and ArtStation have every lesson I create available for purchase a la carte. But here's an even better way to learn with me. Stay current with my latest lessons on Patreon for the lowest price available. Monthly support gets my student that month's lesson, a critique or paint over of their finished work, a discount code for 25% off the entire Gumroad archive, and access to the Logic of Light and Color Discord community, where we plan future lessons, share knowledge, and learn together as a team. The absolute best method is to join my Patreon classroom at the Student Plus tier, where you'll get everything I just mentioned and a free episode from the archive every month to accelerate your mastery at your own pace. You've decided to take control of your painting and master Izzy's logic of light and color. Now it's up to you to choose the path that's best for you. I'll see you on the flip side. Paint smart, paint sexy.